For crying out loud. Oh, dude. I don't know what's wrong.
You're
Resume.
live.
I'm live. Excellent. The stream is not that important, but I would like to do the flight here. I'm flying at 3,000 feet. So where are we? Oh, I'm still where we're supposed to be. So we're approaching the geyser. Okay. Where are you guys? Still there? I can see Matt's. He is in front of me.
I see Zimby and Parabolic C.
Yep. Artingo, he's still here.
F99 is still here.
Okay. That's good. So, let's see. No, I can't see anything. Yeah, so in some parts, as you can, Artingo, it does look like the moon. If you're looking at these hills here, the mountains, that does look like on the moon. But you do have greenery, and you've got a lot of moss and you do have plant life, but it's all very low and small. Most of the time, you've got I don't know how you should call these plants, but they're small and thick leaves and more like
This
moss
I'm
kind
seeing
of.
almost a forest, and that's make believe. Then
Excuse me, come again.
that's make believe. The forests. I'm basically seeing a bunch of trees here.
Oh, you can see trees. I don't.
Yeah,
There are no trees for me, which is right because there should not be any trees. But
yeah.
that's good. Why are you seeing trees? Interesting. I don't
Take a
see any.
screenshot.
I do believe you. But the question is, why are you seeing trees and do I not? I did not turn down the graphics as far as I know. Oopsie. I just killed my avionics. But the flight plan is still there. That's good. Okay, Mats, you convinced me he's somewhere else. He might be seeing trees. That's true. Oh, you guys are over there. Mats. Yeah, then I'm probably also going to be able to see trees in that valley. You're way ahead of me.
Yeah, I'm 4 miles from the next airport.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The next
Bravo
airport
India
is
Sierra Foxtrot.
Selfoss, right? Is that the airport? Selfoss?
It starts with an SE. Hold on.
Yeah, I think it's the first airport after Reykjavik that comes up. So I would say that it's Selfoss.
Yes, Selfos. SELFOS.
That, by the way, is a Selfoss. There is a foss is the word for waterfall. So on Iceland, you also have lots and lots, and I'm really talking about lots of waterfalls, small and big ones. And Selfoss is an area which has awesome, beautiful waterfalls. But I'm curious that they have an airfield that has four runways. Two of them actually, two runways, but You can fly from both sides, but it's a pretty big airfield. So we're going to land there, I guess. You guys, if you don't mind, I would appreciate if you just land there, and I'm going to pick you up once I'm there. I'm not going to cheat.
No,
I could, but nah, I'm not going to cheat. But I can
we'll do a full stop.
I could speed up the plane a little here, so.
We'll do a full stop. It's about midway through your usual 2 hours, roughly, and be a good place to take a break.
Okay. The autopilot stopped working. What's happening? Somebody's behind me. I can see him on the radar. That is Zimby. He's behind me. And Mats. He's also behind me. And Artingu as well. So down below that waypoint, let me take a look at it. That's the Haukadalur Geyser. Coming up. These little mountains here, they also look pretty nice because they have all kinds of plateaus at the top, and that might actually be a nice place to do some camping, unless you don't want to disturb the environment, because I mean there have been too many tourists, I would say. So there's the geyser area. Oh, let me fly back. I need to see this.
I looked for it. I couldn't find it.
I wouldn't expect an actual geyser to be there, but you can see the area that is the tourist area that is around it. There's a parking lot and some kind of if you want to take a look at the stream, I can show you. This is the actual parking area here. This one. This is where I did park my car over there. And then you can walk up these paths here, and the geysers are at this place. And there are a couple of them, so you can walk different ways up here. And it's quite beautiful, but it stinks of sulfur. It really like rotten eggs all the time. So
interesting.
But it is a nice area to explore.
By the way, the U.S. pronunciation is geyser.
Yeah, geyser. Okay, good to know. Can you see these little spots down here?
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the geysers, and that one over here, that's also a geyser. So they kind of have the textures, but they did not put in the fountains, the steam stuff. I'm not sure if does that work in Yellowstone, because these guys have geysers as well. A geyser.
What do you mean? Does what work?
Does the geyser work in Yellowstone? Because there's Old Faithful, for example, the monster geyser, the steam and water fountain that you can see. Have you been to?
Yeah. I've never been, but I hear that that's why they call it Old Faithful. It goes off every 70 odd minutes or something.
It is totally reliable. And I did see in real life. What the question is whether they replicated it in the simulator, because that is obviously one of the most iconic tourist attractions in the United States, and I would expect them to have put in some kind of representation of the geyser.
Yeah, some kind of nod to it, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Maybe I'll check it out. I have looked at the active volcano on the Big Island of Hawaii, and
Mm-hmm.
that's represented, but it basically is a little orangey patch with some smoke coming off it.
Okay. Well, this is good enough. I mean, at least they thought about it.
Yep, they did. They marked it.
Okay, what's next? Next up is the airport south bus.
And it is a dirt strip. If you go in on 23, you'll see one of those plateaus we were just talking about off your right wing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, that's Ingolfsfjall. Inghull. There are a couple of peaks over there, which have different names. But yeah, there's supposed to be some kind of really beautiful waterfall. I'm not. I haven't. Didn't really see any proper representation of waterfalls inside the simulator. You can kind of guess that there are some because you can see the textures from the satellite imagery, but there's no, I don't know, some kind of effects to show that there is a waterfall. They didn't put that in. And all these, of course, you're not able to see all these little beautiful waterfalls that are all over the island, unfortunately, because the Iceland has a whole bunch of them everywhere, basically. And there's no way in hell you can just drive past and not gape at them because it's all so beautiful. So if you ever get the chance, Iceland, if there's one island on this planet that is worth visiting, it's Iceland. If you respect nature and don't do anything untoward. Because there have been tourists, who did all kinds of selfies at spots where they were not supposed to go, and then once that kind of shit starts, then I totally understand that Icelandic people do not want tourists there anymore, because it's just not they're not respecting the environment, and that's too bad. And if there's ever been a country on this planet which did not, or which does still to this day does not have any kind of energy problems, then it's Iceland, because they have this thermal energy coming up from Mother Earth from down below, and they have, I mean, basically energy doesn't cost anything on this island. That's why they can afford to build these massive server farms. Iceland has quite a great selection of um, of companies where you can rent servers, because it doesn't really cost them a whole lot to run all these machines there. And there's one particular host, one particular um, company that I cherish, and it's called 1984, and I guess you know why. These guys basically pride themselves in giving shelter to people who are otherwise would be in danger of being what's it called if you do not let others talk about the truth, censorship. Um, they host all kinds of humanitarian efforts and blogs from people who some kind of whistleblowers and stuff like that. So the name kind of says it all. And the the URL basically is 1984.is. So if you ever want to rent a server, that's a good company to go to. And I'm not getting paid for this, Ed. I just like them. I like their mission.
I think I do too.
I guess in some ways we're pretty like-minded. So you go ahead and tell the world that there exists a company 1984 that does some proper hosting.
I'll spread the word.
That's awesome. Self-pause. Self-pause. Yeah. We're soon, let's see, what's the time? Still an hour to go. That's good. Well, this tour will end rather quickly, I would say. This is not going to take a whole lot of time, a whole lot of flying to get around the island, but it's well worth the effort, even if it's not that much of a tour. And then we're going to be able to see the black beaches, because that is also awesome. And of course the Westmanor Island. That's the next airport. And that one is particularly interesting if you're trying to fly to this airport during autumn or winter time is also pretty difficult, but during autumn or springtime when you have lots of wind, the Westmanor Islands are very, very difficult to approach. And I think that's one of the reasons why they have so many runways, or they have this particular layout, because it doesn't matter where the wind comes from, you always have an opportunity to land there. And they really need it, because there's not that's their main way of getting stuff to this island and from the island, and it's their main way of transporting people and goods and stuff like that. They also can use boats, of course, but it's a lot easier and quicker if you use airplanes. And there's a festival. I don't exactly know what it's about, but I think it's a music festival that goes on this island once a year. Let me let's see if we can if I can connect to Murphy now. Maybe after I've reconnected to the networks. Hello, Murphy.
Maybe things are working now.
Maybe, if I'm lucky. No, they don't. What the heck is wrong? Did I not download an update or what?
Did you mess around with your mixer at all? Maybe it's a sound issue.
I have. Let's see. Stop mic test. Let's see. Stop. No, the mic is working. Multiplayer controls are also working. Maybe I should turn off traffic just to make sure that there is no interference here. Misc, live weather, everything else checks out. There's nothing wrong with the settings. Huh. Murph? Come on, talk to me. Nope. Not working.
Me friend.
Oh!
Did you know that just off to our right at about 2
I
o'clock
heard something.
lies the stunning Hunafloy Bay? This bay is a treasure trove of marine life and is known for its rich fishing grounds. Legend has it that the bay was named after a giantess who lived in the nearby mountains, and she would often stir up storms to protect her home. So keep your eyes peeled, you might just spot a whale or two frolicking in the waters.
I did activate the stream on Discord, so you guys are able to hear. what that guy is saying, but I wanted to talk about the Vestmannaeyjar Islands. So Murphy, there is an island on Iceland at the vicinity, in the vicinity south of Iceland, which is called Vestmannaeyjar Island. There is supposed to be a music festival, I think. Can you tell us something about that?
The Vestmannaeyjar, or the Westman Islands, are a real gem off the southern coast of Iceland. They host the annual Tjóðhátíð Festival, which is a grand celebration of music, culture, and community, usually held in early August. Picture this: thousands of revelers gather to enjoy live music, traditional Icelandic food, and even some wild bonfires. The islands themselves are known for their stunning volcanic landscapes and puffin colonies, making it a perfect
Puffins,
spot for both
oh dear.
partygoers and nature lovers alike.
Don't tell my wife, she's going to freak out. Puffins are her favorite animal. These little... Do you know the puffins, Vinny?
Oh yes, I understand why someone might be enamored.
Yes, they are. They're very cute. And there's actually on YouTube there is a documentary about puffins, and it is heartbreaking because the puffins are always being. I mean, these guys cannot properly fly. The wings are so short they have to have a very high frequency while flying, flapping frequency, and then these guys are trying hard to gather some food, some fish below the water. These guys can dive, and then once they've gathered fish, they're going to be chased down by some other seabirds, seagulls, I think, or some other, I don't know, some birds, and the puffins they're not very fast, and they cannot maneuver very well, so they're always kind of being hunted down, and it's heartbreaking to see that. And there's this documentary about the puffins is really cool. It's well worth looking at. It's not very long, just like, I don't know, 15-20 minutes. But it's well worth looking at. So I'm a little fast here. This is not the way to land an Islander. But looking at the fact that the Islander was built to fly, to commute between islands, I mean, this is not the worst plane to use in Iceland. And it's almost as good at short takeoff and landing as the Kodiak. Almost. The one thing that the Islander lacks is reverse thrust to make this the landing even shorter. There is Mats right behind me, so nice. And Artingo, we lost him on Discord at some point, I guess. So Mats, we're gonna rejoin Vinny here at the beginning of the runway. But we can do a short break if somebody needs that. Is that a tarmac runway here? It looks like tarmac.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, maybe no. It's just the runway. It's the taxiway. It's not a runway.
Yeah, the runway is dirt.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any asphalt.
Mm-mm.
Maybe the taxiways, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Funny that they had all that asphalt for taxiways and parking and none for the runway.
I think that's the simulator issue. So
No doubt.
let's see if I can make out the place where the waterfall should be. It is supposed to be somewhere over there. I think, I don't really know. I don't remember. But it should be somewhere at the, and of course at this plateau there's water coming down, I think.
You think it's facing the airport here?
I don't really know, but it's coming down somewhere here, somewhere around this place. But obviously you cannot make it out in the simulator. But we can, of course, why not? We can take a look at Google or something. Selfoss Waterfalls, Iceland. There we go. Yeah, there we go. That's it. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, there's some places in the sim that look like there ought to be waterfalls. There's like a groove in the rock.
And this one is loud. It's loud as hell. And by the way, I think this waterfall was also, at least the area was used in the film Interstellar. I'm not sure. The area around Selfoss. At least they were on Iceland. I believe this area was shown in the film, maybe. And I've got picked. And this is really the sheer amount of water that is coming down here on these waterfalls. It's awe-inspiring. Really, it's I don't know how to explain this, but there is so much power behind all this water flowing down, and it's so utterly noisy and loud, and you can hardly talk to each other because it's so loud. It's awesome. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. And you can walk on both sides, but there's a parking lot somewhere behind there, and you can walk up and down all this area, this entire area here. But yeah, that's one of them. And of course, that's a tourist magnet, because back there at approximately at this area, you cannot see it in the picture, but there are bus parking lots, and there are lots of buses, tour buses that go on around Iceland. So, should we go on?
Oh, might as well. We're all here. If everybody's ready, I am.
I am as well. Mats, you good to go? I think we lost our Tingo. Or is he there somewhere? No. No, there he is. And he's flying the beaver. The beaver. Okay, let's go. Let's make a left turn here. I think we're going to stay at about 1,000 feet. We don't really have to fly that high. I'm going to switch to the altitude of 1,000 feet here. Okay, let's go back to like 2300 RPM. I've already looked up some of the performance stats of this plane, and it's awesome, really is. Yeah, coming up next are the Black Beaches. There's a little city, or let's call it a. There are a couple of black beaches actually on the southern coast of Iceland, but the most beautiful beaches are in the vicinity of the little community called Vik. That's the next airport after the one that we're gonna fly to next. But the entire southern coast here that we're going to fly along now is basically black beaches, and the sand is rather coarse, and it's all volcanic sand, really. I'm not sure if I told you, at least you, Vinny, I tried to smuggle some volcanic sand, but they're particularly not fond of that. But they did allow me to take along some rocks, some small rocks. Welcome back.
Hi. Strange. I don't know when I dropped out of the call.
Well, you know, the network doesn't seem to be very stable today. I had my issues as well, as you know. So you didn't hear anything that I said last couple of minutes?
Oh, I don't think I did.
Okay. Doesn't
But
really matter.
Quiet.
You should have wondered what the heck, he's talking all the time, now he's not saying a word.
Yeah.
The we're gonna see black beaches now, because the entire southern coast of Iceland basically is covered in black sand, and
Nice.
it's beautiful.
Volcanic sand.
Exactly. And it's utterly it's another part of Iceland that's completely otherworldly, because once you're walking in this black sand, and you wonder what's going on, because it usually I'm only used to light sand, yellow or almost white sands. I think in Florida you have particularly, right, Vinny, and some parts of Florida, or even in the entire area of Florida, has very light, bright sands in the Gulf of Mexico, which I should not call Gulf of Mexico anymore, but I will until the end of my life. Fuckers.
Me too.
Yeah. Anyway, it's they have very nice bright sand, and it's right. Entirely opposite. So.
I'm flying my drone along the coast right now, and all I'm seeing is dark sand beaches.
And it really does look like that in reality. That's one of the things I love about this sim.
Well, that was good for us, because now we renamed the Bothnia Sea to the Gulf of Sweden.
It's only fair.
Yeah. Everybody can do this. I can call how about the river that flows through our city? I'm going to rename it after myself. Why not? I mean, it's the Matt River.
It's the River Matt.
From now on, it's the River Matt. Exactly. Why not? I mean, seriously, it's such a shit show. You cannot possibly. This is way beyond anything that comedians can do. Nobody could come up with that kind of hilarious stuff. If
the comedians have more material than they know what to do with these days.
Yeah, but it's also tragic in many ways. It's
Right.
utterly tragic. It would be funny if it wasn't reality.
If it wasn't so sad, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the world should know that not everybody in America feels the way that
We do know.
certain people in the government.
We do know. At least half of America doesn't feel like that. Probably more.
Yeah. Yeah, we needed to vote more last time, and we kind of blew it, but we'll fix it next time.
I hope. But America has recovered from many different difficult situations, so I'm hoping for the best.
Me too.
What else can you do?
That's it.
We need to have a little optimism right there.
Yeah.
And we're looking at nice black beaches here.
Correct.
The water is pretty cold, by the way. I would not suggest. I mean, there are people in Iceland who do that, and they're a different breed of human being. But I did not dare. I did walk into the water with my bare feet, and it was freaking cold, and I decided to not want to go into the ocean with my entire body.
So the water near Iceland
Oh,
is cold. Who'd have thought
no. I mean, there were people doing this, and I thought, oh man, I can take all kinds of shit, but that was just too cold for me. Really, I'm not sure what it's called, a warm bather.
Warm bather?
Bather, right? Because the outside temperatures are not that bad. There were days where we had about 20 degrees Celsius, and you can walk around in t-shirts during summertime. But the water is pretty cold.
Temperature 12 degrees. Okay, it's 12 right now.
Yeah, if you're going around the island, it really makes sense to have all kinds of clothing with you. The weather changes rapidly all the time. You have rain. The skies are raining cats and dogs, and then an hour after that, you have the prettiest sunshine. So it's good to have to follow the onion principle. You can peel away layers of clothing and then put them back on. Yeah, so here, this is basically all this area here. These awesome black beaches. And if you walk, the closer you walk to the water, the darker the sand really gets. And there's supposed to be a rock. It's coming up later on, I think. There's a rock formation that looks awesome. I think it is being displayed in the simulator. I think we're going to be able to see it. Let's take a look at the map. How far are we going to go tonight? Like half an hour, maybe 45 minutes. The end point for today might be Höfen Airport. That is close to the glacier that is melting too quickly. Skaftafell. Yeah, we're gonna end the day at Höfen. I can see trees down there. No, they should not be here. These trees have no place to be here. Did you ever see trees grow on volcanic rocks?
Not that I can recall.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't even look pretty. I mean, there should be a way to add an exception, really, to some areas of the planet of the scenery where there are no trees added. I mean, it can't be that difficult. I think we did talk about that before. Doesn't really make any sense here. Oh, these beautiful back beaches. This is awesome. So now it's now we're gonna go to the Vestmanner Islands, and of course we're gonna land there. I think I have a UFO below me here. Vinny, if you want to take a look at the stream, look at that. There is something under the water here following you. It's probably some kind of torpedo to bring you down from the skies. No, it's not following you particularly, but it's pointing into the direction of... Can you see this? This little weird...
I see it, yeah.
What the heck? It's even a little...
Fly your drone down there and get a closer look. Maybe take a snapshot.
That's a weird... Is that a whale, maybe?
I don't know.
Look at that thing.
It's like a speedboat, but it's going way too fast.
Absolutely. That's no torpedo. Is there somebody up here flying? I think that's Mats. He's producing such a... do you have...
He's creating a wake.
Yeah,
with his,
but what kind of wake is that? I mean, like
it's
100
wake turbulence.
1,000 feet high wake turbulence. That's awesome. Do I have something? No, it's only him. Yeah, he's diving down towards the water. That's Mats. He's producing some weird effect. Interesting. Another bug. Do you know there's a YouTuber called Hudson? I don't know if you know that guy.
I do know Hudson, yes.
And he has produced a video a couple of days ago, I think. He'd made a break from producing the YouTube stuff, and then he was complaining about the state of the simulator and such. I didn't have the opportunity to watch the video fully yet, but I think he might be right about that, about the fact that the community is really upset about the state of the flight simulator. At least some part of the community. And that finally, I don't know if they're in some kind of dead end here, but there are so many errors that have not been fixed, and there's always coming more. Maybe they're kind of overwhelmed with their own concept here. Are you over the island already?
I am touching down.
Okay.
They did too much at once. They should have staggered the...
Probably.
Not do Xbox at the same time, for example.
Yeah, or maybe just, shouldn't have made promises, or at least should have not charged as much money for a product that was basically an alpha version, something like that. I mean, it was more like an early access product, and then people would have accepted that more easily, I guess.
And then not do gliders, helicopters, balloons.
Yeah, all this kind of crap that nobody wants. At least not me.
No.
or the
I think
career
it's pretty
mode,
cool.
which doesn't work at all, really. Every single time that I load up the simulator and wait these like 5 minutes until it comes up and is responsive, I think about going back to 2020. But that would mean that I lose some people along the way that I like to fly with. So it's
I go back to 2020 almost weekly.
yeah, sure, with your group flights, right?
Yeah.
But
It's a breath of fresh air, to be honest.
yes, it is. But yeah. And there's
I guess the good news is that 24 will get there eventually, and when it does, it'll be even better. But in the meantime, we have to live with it.
Yeah, we do. And we actually do live with it. We've become hardened, bug and battle hardened. Nice island, isn't it? I love it.
The runway will be big enough for the largest tube liner.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a good thing that they have such a large runway, because if you have these utterly ridiculous wind conditions, then it's going to be difficult to land anyway. It's nice to have all kinds of room. By the way, what I did try with the Islander here is to fly this thing with only one engine. I cut off the fuel from one of the engines and try to land it with one engine, and it's easy to do, really. I'm not sure, of course, if this is if this is as realistic as it can be, but I think, I mean, if you know how to operate the rudder and put in feather for the engine, for the props that went silent, then you're good to go. Basically, it's got enough power on each of the engines to even climb properly. So it's a very safe plane. And it's also pretty slow. The average cruise speed is only 130 knots. So it's really some... it's a plane that is only meant for short distances. And lots of landings and startups. The engines can take a lot more punishment than a turboprop, for example. So where is the runway? There it is. Which runway did you say was appropriate?
I'm going for 12.
12, okay. Same here. Look at this, at these hills, at these mountain formations here. This is awesome.
If you hear me swearing, it's because the autopilot and the whole GPS unit in the Beaver is really broken.
Okay. So go ahead, do your worst. I don't care. You can swear all you want on my channel. That's not a problem. What do I want to say? Oh, by the way, Vinny, I think I'm early. Did you upgrade to 64 gigs of RAM already?
Not yet, no.
I
getting
did.
ready to.
I did, and I have to say
Did
that
you?
yes, I did. Of course, I did. I'm an idiot and a freak sometimes. The result is pretty good, I would say, because on landings I don't have any kind of stuttering anymore.
Uh-huh.
As you can see on the stream. There's nothing happening. It's smooth as silk. And now I have 80 gigs of RAM because I was able to keep some of the old modules, and it's utterly worth it. And
I had a feeling.
Go ahead and buy it. It makes a difference.
I'm gonna do it. Yep.
The 80, 64 should be more than enough, but everything else beyond that should not make any difference, I guess. But it does to have more than 32 does make a difference, I would say. It really does. Where are you? Did we lose you somewhere along the way?
Who, me?
Yes, you're gone.
I'm sitting at the threshold.
Okay. Let's see. I can see parabol. Oh, there you are. Okay. You're at a different runway.
At Victor Mike at the threshold.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna let's go over there.
21.
21. Okay.
Yeah, I needed a minute because my sim was frozen and I was sure it was going to crash the desktop, but I somehow managed to get it back.
Okay.
So hopefully it'll be stable now.
Yeah, go ahead and buy some RAM. It's going to be even more stable.
I think I will.
It does make a difference.
I will. Yeah, I had a feeling it might.
I mean, there are other people. There are other people who said that. I watched some videos and read some stuff about that, and everybody said that it would make a difference. Not really that much. That it. I mean, you're not gonna get a whole lot of higher FPS, but you will have less stutter and a smoother experience overall. So, and I can vouch for that.
Yep, I was actually just hoping to get rid of the occasional stutters that I get on final approaches when they seem to happen.
They're not.
And if I get rid of them, I'll take it.
they're not totally gone, but most of it is gone, and you're not gonna mess. At least I did not mess up any landings yet, so it's good enough for me. So, flaps are down. That's an interesting runway, isn't it? It's basically, you should know what you're doing, otherwise you're going to crash into the end of the. There's a little hill here, and actually houses. Look down here. There's an entire village. Look at that. Might be a little bit noisy. Yeah, I heard about that. The auto FPS mats might also be a good idea.
So I'm ready to go if everybody else is.
I am. Let's have Matt turn around, and then I think we can take off again. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
It's nice to have our flight leader back.
Oh, thank you so much.
Helga Fjell.
Look at how this thing climbs. I mean, I'm accelerating at this angle still. This is such a beast.
And it really looks like it wants to fly.
Mm-hmm. It does. Okay, left turn. Yeah, it's just, these two engines. It's almost got the same amount of horsepower than like the Grand Caravan, if you combine those two engines. And it works quite well. So I'm going to activate the autopilot. What's really nice is the fact that this flight plan stuff works again. This is so good. Makes all the difference.
Yeah, I don't know what you paid for it, but it's worth every penny just to have that.
$20. It's not that expensive. It's well
hard to
worth the
beat.
money. And it's exactly the kind of plane that I like. The Kodiak is nice, really, but it doesn't work in 2024. So, and they're still working on. I mean, they postponed the development of the 2024 version. I don't know why. Probably because they wanted to publish the other plane first. But their loss. I bought something else. I'm probably going to buy the 2024 Kodiak as well at some point, but right now I fell in love with the Islander. So, and it's awesome to have a twin engine, and since I have this nice little throttle quadrant here, which I can use, which has two levers for each of the, a lever for each of the engines. That's an extra little bonus. Okay, let's see. Eyjafjallajökull. That's that's another specialty when it comes to pronunciation. No, that's the one that I was talking about earlier here. The Kull, which is actually pronounced Kuddl. Eyjafjallajökull. That's a glacier, and that's also a volcano. And if I remember correctly, that was the volcano here which was causing the traffic, the air, the problems with the air traffic a couple of years ago, right? If anybody remembers that, where planes, where flights had to be rerouted because they could not fly over Iceland because of the eruption of the Eyjafjallajökull. Let me take a look at Google.
Yeah, disturbed all of Europe.
Exactly. Eyjafjallajökull eruption. That was in it was in 2010. Okay. I thought it would not have been that far away, but yes, that was 2010. It was closing down European skies, exactly. Yeah, that was a catastrophe of epic proportions, at least for the what's it called dude, it's late, for the industry, for the entire aerospace industry. We should probably gain some altitude here because the Eyjafjallajökull is quite a bit higher. Let's take a look. We should be at least 6. Yeah, exactly, something like that. Let's go to 65.
Almost there already.
6,500. There we go. Interestingly, the Islander, the maximum vertical speed that you can put in is 1,000 feet. I don't know why. They probably want to force the pilots to, if you want steeper angles or higher rates of climb, you need to do that manually. But the autopilot only accepts 1,000 feet per minute, so it's a bit weird. But it might have a reason. Safety issues, safety idea. Oh, mats. Yeah, you're gonna have to. You're gonna have to force your Cessna up there. Give it all you can. Because that thing isn't. I think the rate of climb is not that high. Gonna slow down a bit. 6,500. Yes. The Eyjafjallajökull. It's actually the first proper glacier that we're going to be able to see here. It would be interesting to know how old the satellite imagery is, because then we would be able to understand how far, how much the glaciers have actually molten, how far they have receded. Well, maybe we're going to end today at Vik Airport. It's almost 11 p.m. But how did you like it so far? I think Iceland is really worth exploring.
Yeah, it's nice. Super pretty.
I'm loving it.
Excellent. That's nice.
So that island we just went to, that was basically just the tip of a volcano. You can see the
Mm-hmm.
you can see the crater.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, this is. I hope Iceland will be left untouched in future conflicts. Unfortunately, it is a. It's a. I mean, the United States have had. I'm not sure if they're still maintaining it, but they did have a military presence here. But it's one of those rare areas on the planet that that really are worth preserving. I mean, there's lots of nature that is worth preserving, but Iceland is a special gem. I don't know. It's awesome in so many ways. A bit like, nah, it's not really comparable to New Zealand, but it is in its own special way. Just a freak show, basically. And the Icelandic people are also a special breed of people. I'm not sure how to explain it, but they are a lot more resilient when it comes to handling crises. Because I mean, it can happen all the time that they're being cut, especially if you live in the remote areas. It can happen that that you're being cut up from traffic or from getting goods and food and stuff like that. So because of I mean, if they're during the winter time, the main roads can be just, hazardous to drive on, or even completely cut off during winter time. And then it makes sense to have some, I'm not sure what it's called in English, but you have some stock, things stocked up. For example, some food that you can survive a couple of weeks, even if necessary. Yeah. And these guys are just that much more resilient and relaxed when it comes to natural disasters. I mean, they have lived through all kinds of interesting situations. So, and you can hear all kinds of stories being told. So, if you talk to locals, then they always like to tell stories, and they also very friendly. As long as you're polite and you don't act up weirdly, then you're being welcomed really warmly. And they do not have to. They are not using locks on their doors at houses. Everybody leaves their houses open. It's not something that you would do in Germany. Not at all.
Or the U.S., but it seems like they don't need them there.
Nope, they don't. But I think there are only very few really poor people in Iceland. The necessity to steal from your neighbors is not really. It doesn't really exist, as far as I've been able to determine. But and also even the some of the jobs that you would expect to be that people would consider to be lowly, like cleaning up or cleaning the streets and trash, the trash industry and all that, or people who are selling stuff at the supermarket, at the grocery store. These people are paid very well compared to what you can expect in Germany or in the U.S. So everybody's going to be. Every job is basically worthwhile, and it's paid properly, and it's a whole different way of respecting each other here on Iceland. So I've had the opportunity to talk to people who migrated to Iceland from Germany. I was able to really properly talk to them in my own language, so that was nice, and they had all kinds of interesting stories to tell. And one of the things that Iceland really does well is social security and welfare and health stuff. What is it called in English? Healthcare. The healthcare system is a lot better. Obviously, it's easier because they almost have no people living on this island, but still, it's nice. Coming up there, down there, Solheim. Let me take a look. Yeah, there is the Solheimazundur wreck. That's a plane wreck. I don't really remember why it is there, but it is being preserved. It's a tourist attraction. And you can see it in the simulator. Solheimazundur. There. Plane wreck. There's actually going a shuttle bus to this wreck, really. It's a Douglas DC-3, right? And it looks like this in reality, and you can also see it in the simulator. So, but I don't really know why they're preserving this in the state. It was November 1973 during severe icing conditions. Okay. Yep, you're right, Mats. Especially Finland, for example. I love Finland, and their social security system and their healthcare system are something else. Because there is no private. There aren't the way they the healthcare system is everybody's being treated the same, and you have these healthcare centers where everybody needs to go, no matter how much money they earn. It's all a lot more. I'm liking the word.
One
here.
cool thing they do in Finland is that if you get a speeding ticket, then it's a percent of your
exactly.
salary.
That's awesome. I really do like that, and I'm really trying to. I'm not sure about foreigners, but I really, and they have lots of these these machines that can take photos of you if you're driving too fast. It really makes sense to keep to the speed limits, because otherwise you're gonna get punished for that. And I totally agree with that. I really do appreciate that. Also, in crew members,
we're a little backwards in Sweden. We are not that the society hasn't advanced that far yet.
no, but you have your own benefits that are, for example, family is supported
Oh yeah,
a lot more than, for example, in Germany, with
right.
with what is it called? If you take off parental, if you can take time off once, if you have. If you're a wife, I didn't, but my wife gave birth to a child. So what's it called? The time that you can take off as a as a new parent.
Mother's leave or parental leave or
Parental leave, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. The main fuselage, blah blah blah, relatively intact since the accident. Yeah, tour destination. Yeah, basically. So
My wife says it's maternity leave.
maternity leave. Okay, that's good enough. So that's
For the woman.
yeah, and but parental leave does work as well. I hope that everybody's able to grasp the concept. And by the way, when it comes to speeding on Iceland, like data storage laws. Oh, I get it. Yes, it's a privacy issue, really, right? But Matt's on Iceland, the police. I think I told the story to Vinny once. If you're speeding, you're not being stopped right away. If they see you speeding, they're gonna watch you for a while, and if they continue to see you speeding, then you're gonna have to pay a whole lot. It's really expensive. I mean, it's not a problem if you try to overtake another car and then you go above the speed limit for a short amount of time. But I had some people from Austria that I met in a guest house there, and they were being bled. Basically, they had to pay hundreds of euros because they were speeding, and they were speeding over a longer period of time. So the police were watching them. And once they recognized that they were speeding on purpose or they didn't care, then they're going to catch you and make you pay big time, really.
Right.
And I think that's fair, because, I mean, if you speeding for a short amount of time, that might be an accident because I don't know, your foot has has hit the gas a little bit too much, but doing it all the time, that's not a good idea. So let's see. Did anybody see the wreck? I was talking too much. Well, there's a plane wreck down there. Help yourself. And the next one, the next waypoint, the Rain Dranger Cliffs. I'm not sure if I saw them. In reality, I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't remember. Let's take a look at Google. The rain cliffs. There we go. Oh yeah, that's the rock formation that I was talking about. It also looks otherworldly in some ways. Yeah, and that is I've been there. I've taken this is, if you take a look at the stream, Vinny, that I did the exact same photo. My wife was sitting there on these rocks, and it's awesome. It looks like I mean this doesn't look natural.
No, it doesn't.
No.
It looks made.
Yeah, but it isn't. It's actually it's from. It is nature that did that.
Manufactured by nature.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I'm gonna lose some altitude here. Let's see if we can spot this in the simulator. There is a hint. It might actually be visible, at least a little bit. Nah, probably not. Oh, maybe. Once we get closer. Yeah, and that little city down here is the community of Vik. I had a punctured tire that I had I'm not sure what it's called in America. The cars, a couple of years ago, a couple of centuries ago, no, a couple of decades ago, they called it the Rabbit. It's a Volkswagen. A certain type of Volkswagen, and it still I'm not sure if they sell it in America today, but it's a compact car. Well. You do remember, but the old version, the Rabbit, right? So I had a modern version of that on Iceland here, and I got a tire puncture, and I had it repaired in Vik. There was a repair shop. And that guy, he didn't give us a new tire. There's a spray that you can put into the tire to basically seal it. He didn't do much more than just go ahead and seal the tire from inside. He sprayed something into the tube of the tire. Then it was sealed, and then he said we should go on. I did have a spare tire in case of emergencies. But that guy, he didn't really care about giving us a new tire. It would have been expensive anyway, but he was relaxed and said, yeah, come on, doesn't really matter. It's a rental car. You go ahead and... and it was cheap to do that. So I just had to buy one of those... there is a can of spray that you can connect to the tire, to the what's it called? To the valve of the tire. And then you can spray something in there. And basically, you can put air back into the tire, and then you're good to go. Yeah, you can kind of make out it looks a little bit like the real thing. Not entirely, but... Yeah, and I think we stayed at one of the guest. Most of these little farms over there. Most of these also have guest rooms that you can rent, and I think we stayed at one of those rooms over there. Not directly at the coast, but some place back here, and they had some pretty adventurous chicken. They were growing their own chickens in the garden, and it was windy as hell, and the chicken were getting blown away all the time. They should have gone to their little. There was a little barn where they could go in, but those chicken, they just went out the door and got blown away by the wind, and it was so funny because they didn't care. They were dumb as hell, and they're being blown away all the time.
Yeah, they're not known for their intelligence.
No, absolutely not. You can basically, there was, what was the name? Mike the Headless Chicken. They cut away the head and still lived for a while. Something like that. Yeah, Gone with the Wind. Exactly, Matt. These chickens were, they were like, if somebody knows the film Vaiana, there's this I think it was from Pixar. There's this little chicken called Hey Hey, and they were as stupid as Hey Hey. It's one of those animation films from Pixar.
Moana.
Vaiana.
Moana, I think it's from.
Moana? Is that no? There's you mean the film Moana?
That's where Hey Hey's from, I think.
Well, that's the English version, maybe, because in German it's called Vaiana. But yes, you are right. There is this little chicken that's too stupid to pick up the corn, the seeds. That's always picking somewhere. Yeah, that might be the case. It's called Moana in the English version.
Hey Hey means chicken in Hawaiian.
Oh, that's the reason. Okay, that makes sense. That's good to know. I could brag about that knowledge in front of my kids.
Feel free.
I will. Thank you so much.
You doing touch and goes, or are you doing a full stop?
Nah, we're doing a full stop because it's past 11 p.m. So
Okay.
we're going to stop for tonight. But that was awesome. I think it's pretty. It should be a nice tour all the way. And
So far, so good.
no. There's this little airport building over there here. These guys actually have. There's a what are these guys called? Stewards? The guys that
The
are
ones
waving you
with
in.
the marshal?
Yeah,
that's
the
a
marshals. Marshal, right? There's a marshal. Can you imagine at Vic Airport?
Why not?
Why not? Sure.
He's very excited to have customers.
Yes, I think it's the highlight of the entire month for him.
Yes, I'm sure it's very lonely.
Yeah, probably. Hi there. How are you doing? It's a woman, actually. A blonde woman, of course. In Iceland, you should have mostly blonde women. So, that was it. Cut off, shut down. Hit all the knobs, everything I can find. I'm just going to push every single button here.
Well, I crashed. Last thing I did, but I got a really nice picture of the volcano in the live weather.
Okay.
I would
Live weather, because it was especially nice because of the clouds?
Yeah, you will see it was dramatic.
Okay. Would you mind posting it on the gallery?
I will do so.
That's awesome. That would be awesome. I'm going to step out of the plane here. I would like to salute, but I don't think we have that kind of emote here.
We'll have to put in a request for that.
Very nice. Is that
you can crouch?
How do I do that? Oh, I see. C for crouch. Okay.
And you can run.
Yeah, that's the space key, right?
Right.
But that's about it.
That's about it.
Well, it's not a walking simulator, so I don't really mind.
True.
So, thank you so much for flying with me. That was awesome, as usual.
Yeah. Really nice tour. Thank you.
And yeah.
That's all, folks.
It's utterly loud. I don't... I need to turn down the volume, but that is a good ending. We should do that again.
I think so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I'll turn it down next time. Thanks a lot, Matt. See you next time.
Okay.
See you.
See you.
Have a good night. See you soon. Bye.